right. The weekend is almost here, and we've got plenty to discuss today on this edition of Mic'd Up. Jake and Fulton Caster with you. We finally have Royals baseball tonight, and it could be very, very interesting tonight. Something could happen for the very first time this year, this evening at the K. 7:10 first pitch, 6:30 pregame coverage. Can the Royals actually win a game with Jordan Lyles starting? It has not happened before this year, much like the Royals have not won 3 in a row.
Correct.
Every time Jordan Lyles has taken a baseball in a Royal uniform,
it's a big old fat L.
He has not won, nor have the Royals even won. He hasn't even kept them in the game enough for them to come back in the 7th, 8th, or 9th.
I will argue
to win.
I will argue. Oh, okay, and the two things that are no decisions, correct. In some of those 0-9s, Lyles has done enough for them to win the game, and that 4-2 complete game loss to the White Sox. Jordan Lyles did his job.
Well, he gave it 4 runs.
In 2023, that's enough to the other team to get the job done.
I'm just saying, it wasn't good enough. Good enough in theory, but not good enough for this team.
Jordan Lyles' first start of the year was like 6 innings, 1 run. He did his job. He has mainly been bad. I want to clarify. He's a bad pitcher who 90% of the time has been quite bad. But I just want to say, 15 to 20% of the time, it's on the offense's fault.
So we've got Royals
During
baseball
the time, it is still
coming
Lyles'
up.
fault.
We'll talk Royals baseball. The Big 12, Brett Yormark meeting with the media at the Big 12 meetings, doling out a lot of money. Good for the Big 12. We will get to that coming up today. We'll talk with Jesse Newell on some OTAs for the Kansas City Chiefs. That'll be in the 1 o'clock hour. So let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429, the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line. Hit us up on our YouTube page. Check us out in the comments section as well. We'll love to get your opinion there. Go to 580wibw.com. So great stuff for the interaction. We love to get your thoughts today on Mic'd Up. We start, though, with what are the questions that we need answered the rest of this year? The most important decisions by the Royals. What do they need to do? Or what do they need to see from this upcoming team? So that is what we are going to go with today. We've got the questions we would like to know going forward. So, Fulton, I will start things off.
Okay.
My number one question, it's very, very simple. And it's for the immediate future. Who is available at the trade deadline? I want to know, who do they trade at the trade deadline? Are they going to be aggressive when they talk about the trade deadline? They should unload people if they can. Gone is Scott Barlow. Gone is Aroldis Chapman. Gone is Zach Greinke. Now, granted, does Greinke have no trade?
So I want to briefly say this on Zach Greinke real quick. One, I do not know who would want him. Truly. That is a maybe 5th starter who could potentially get you something.
Correct.
Part 2 is this. The return is so low for Zach Greinke. You are getting nothing for that. That if Zach Greinke would prefer not to be traded, don't trade him. You are not getting a good return for Zach Greinke.
And anybody is trade eligible. If you think you should trade Bobby Witt Jr., trade him. If you think Vinny Pasquantino, trade him. Who is available at the trade deadline? That's my number one. And then that also kind of corresponds to my number 2, but I can get to that in just a second. Number 1, who's available at the trade deadline? And will you actually do it? Or are you going to be like Dayton Moore when you had Ian Kennedy available to trade and you didn't?
Yeah.
You didn't. You had Whit Merrifield and you didn't trade him. They don't have any Whit Merrifields anymore because everybody is so young when it comes to guys who has 2 or 3, years left. Is Salvador Perez on the trade market? We had someone bring Salvador Perez up. That's a little bit tougher because of and every situation is different.
Yeah.
But like Whit Merrifield should have been traded, in 2021, not 2022.
Correct.
Or he should have been traded.
Should have been traded in 2019.
In the COVID year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I get you.
Ian Kennedy should have been traded. Instead, they traded him the next year at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
They don't have a ton of those guys.
Yeah, and that's why, like, my first question to tie into yours here, because it's one of the ones we're kind of similar here, which is, I phrased it as this. Does the front office make the proper moves at the trade deadline? I.e., do they move Chapman? Do they move Scott Barlow? The guys that are on expiring contracts who should get moved, who have no sense in being on this team, do they get moved? To me, in certain areas, like Zach Greinke doesn't fall into that list for me because the return is so little and the situation's so different that he's one of the few guys that go, if he wants to stay, like, I'd rather keep the Hall of Famer happy who is truly providing something to this staff and veteran leadership to so many young arms, that unless someone's offering me a really great deal, it's better to keep him around for the other things he can offer. But, like, if someone offers you a really great, like MJ Melendez, if someone offers you a lot for him, do it. Get rid of him.
Okay.
You have other guys who can take the spot. If someone offers, like, this is my big thing for me, and I'll kind of tie into this a little bit. It's kind of a new addendum to this. Do you move one of the infielders? You have a glut of infielding talent right now in what you have at the big league level and minor league level. You have deficiencies other places. Does Maikel Garcia get traded? Does Nicky Lopez get traded? Does Michael Massey get traded? Does Nick Lofton get traded? Does Samant Taylor get traded? You have positions of strength to trade from. I go into that being a proper move. Less specific guys, but there are some moves that are just, you probably should do it. Is this front office transactional enough?
Okay. My number 2, and this kind of coincides with who is available and who do they trade at the deadline. I think the Royals need to answer this question right now. I really do. And you should definitely know at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
But you should kind of know, are you trying to actually win in 2024?
Yeah.
Are you actually going to try to win in 2024? If that's the case, then you need to set up the rest of this year for 2024.
Yeah. Put yourself in a position to maybe make some few more moves in the offseason to succeed.
And know exactly. You might have to make decisions right now. That's why I look at, if you're trying to win in 2024, you almost need to go with specific guys the entire year and just fill in the spots elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to win in 2024, you need to pick a guy in center field. And if it's Drew Waters, he gets to play center field 6 out of every 7 games.
Yeah, I see your point.
But
I get it.
There's no the half measure is splitting Isbell and Waters. Nope. You gotta pick a horse and you gotta go with them.
Yeah.
If you're trying to win in 2024. If you're like, look, we probably don't have it in 2024, then it doesn't really matter this year, because then this year also turns into next year, where your goal is, okay, we're going to try to win in 2025. But if you're going to try to win in 2024, then you have to make decisions on guys. If you think 2024 we can compete, and when I say compete and trying to win, I mean September 1st rolls around and you're within three games of the playoffs. You've got that. And that's where kind of that coincides to my number 4.
Yeah.
You need to find out if MJ Melendez is the guy.
Yeah.
If MJ Melendez is awful the rest of this year, that is now pretty much 2 seasons you have of MJ Melendez. He might not have it.
Yeah.
He might not. So to me, Vinny P, he's good to go, right? Nick Prado doesn't have enough at-bats. But
it's looking good.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
And so you just go with Nick Prado. You go with Vinny Pasquantino. You've got Salvador Perez. And then, my other question is, does Bobby Witt Jr. improve his on-base percentage? That is a big factor on what you're going to do with Bobby Witt Jr. If Bobby Witt Jr. can improve his on base percentage, then he's an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's dominant because he can run. He's got very good defense now that we realize. The problem is right now he can't get on base frequent enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's good enough most teams would take what he's doing. They would because he's got elite talent on the infield. He can steal bases, but his on base percentage is not good enough right now. So MJ Melendez, just overall, and Bobby was more of a, hey, how can we get him to that superstar level? Because that gives you just an elite type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But MJ is such a big deal for this team.
No,
so important. And I don't want to say he's running out of time, but Fulton, if they're not going to try to win in 2024, then MJ gets all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Because if your goal is to win 2025, this is just his second year. He still has 4 more years under contract. So then you have next year, he'll be in his 3rd year, has 3 left. And then in 25, guess what? It's his 4th year. He still has 2 more years after that. You still have 3 years essentially of trying to win with MJ Melendez. You've got 25, 26, and 27. So, but if you're trying to win then, to me, you need to know, is this a guy that we're going to trot out there?
Yeah.
And then lastly is, what is Daniel Lynch? If Daniel Lynch is a guy that you think can be a good pitcher, all right, that's a good situation to be in. That's why Singer this year, if he was good, man, you'd have 2 guys, and then you go out and you sign a free agent guy, then you've got 3, then maybe another one of these guys, you can cobble it together. In order to be competitive, you need 3 guys that you can, trust on the mound. And then you try to find a 4th and 5th guy. The Royals had that in 15. They did. They could honestly trust about 4 guys, but they could trust 3 guys. Then all of a sudden they got Chris Young, who came in and you were like, what? He was unbelievable in 2015. So like, those are my 5 questions. I know I kind of just ran them all together there, but a lot of those coincide with my second one. Are you trying to win in 2024?
Yeah. And I think they're all fair. For me, kind of going through my 4 here, I'm with you on MJ, but I just word it simply as, can MJ figure it out? And for me, it does not come down to the basics of, I need MJ to all of a sudden finish the year hitting 280 with 38 bombs. And I don't need that. It's just, by the end of the year, have I seen a couple months consecutively of MJ Melendez looking like a competent big league hitter? If the overall numbers are still kind of but if you say, going through August and September, and MJ was, about 108 OPS plus, hit about 15 to 18 dingers, was driving in runs, more importantly, was taking his walks incredibly well. To me right there, I go, all right, MJ's part of the core.
Yeah. Because
he's figuring it out. So I need to eventually can figure out. And to tie that in with this, is Michael Massey your second baseman? Because since April 23rd, that answer is a resounding yes. Because he has looked excellent in overall sample numbers since April 23rd. But that's still only about a month worth of work good versus he is at a month of being very good and a month of being downright horrendous. What does he do the rest of the year? Because if he shows the rest of this year that he is more, and I don't mean to the top tier of his May self of, hitting over 300 and all that, but if he shows through the rest of the year that he's like a 270 hitter, a little bit of pop, great defense, cool, you have a second baseman now. You've answered that question. It is solidified. It's no more. It's no more. Is it Samad Taylor? It's no more. Can Nick Lofton do it? It's no more. We throw into Nicky Lopez. It's no. Michael Massey's shown me that's a big league second baseman. I have solved a roster spot for the next 6 years. Can Michael Massey show that to me there? And then I put this a little bit broader than you with Daniel Lynch specifically. Does a young pitcher step up?
Okay.
Daniel Lynch, Brady Singer, any of the myriad of guys at AAA or AA if they get a shot. Can a young pitcher step up and show what Brady Singer showed last year? Because we're still not going to get to know if it is going to be the real deal or consistent. But can one of these young guys, and it could be Brady Singer himself the rest of this year, show that they can do what Brady did last year? That they can be at worst, middle of the rotation arm. I don't care who the guy is, but can a young pitcher do it? And then my next question is a very broad one. Who's the next young guy to get a real shot? Is it Nick Lofton? Is it Smod Taylor? Is it Tyler Gentry? Is it any one of the young pitchers, Anthony Vinzaino, Austin Cox, Drew Parrish? Who's the next young dude? Is it Logan Porter if you decide Freddie Fermin isn't your long-term backup catcher? Who is the next young guy to get an opportunity? Because, and kind of to tie in with your idea of if they're going to compete in 24, if they're going to compete in 24, it's going to be because the young bats that are homegrown are feeling you a competent lineup. You get just enough homegrown starting pitching. And John Sherman gets off his butt and opens the checkbook.
Yeah.
That's how they compete. And so for me, just simply, what is the next young guy to try and step up and fill some of these holes? Because I don't know if Maikel Garcia stays on this team long term. Because as a third baseman, his value is not what you want it to be. And if Baiwa Jr., though, is the guy who you want to be the shortstop, that is fine. You could get a lot from Maikel Garcia as a shortstop. Because as a shortstop, because he's better defensively at short than at third, and we've seen how good he is at third, that's a lot of value. If let's see with Maikel Garcia. Okay, can Nick Lofton come up be your third baseman in the future? Does Caden Wallace keep ascending through the system? There's all these different questions that I just want to know who's the next young dude who steps up, because you got to do that going through the rest of this year.
And baseball is such a small margin. If you if you hit a ball, a quarter of an inch lower, it's a home run. If you hit it a quarter of an inch higher, it's a foul ball. Back out of play. The Royals are not, I don't think they are not super far off on being competitive.
No.
Now, are they super far off from being competitive to win something? Yes. But
that's ways to go.
They're 3 guys away from being competitive. And they're all 3 on the roster. If MJ Melendez could actually be up to his talent, where he hits 270, hits 25 homers, gets on base at a 340
walks
clip.
a billion times a year.
Not a billion, but he should have an OPS of over 800.
He should. And it should be like he should have in the right world. He has your second highest walk total.
And so
behind Vinny Pasquantino.
If you've got MJ Melendez, and then it's simple. If Singer and Lynch could pitch like Singer did last year, which he has the capability of, we saw that. If you had those 3 guys, that's it. Those 3 guys play at a level that they are capable of.
You could start scratching towards 500 baseball
next year.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah,
and that's not,
and then you're a couple other moves away from going from 500 baseball to competing for a playoff spot.
Well, that and that comes down to John Sherman.
Yes, it does.
But if you have those 3 guys, and Nick Prado is just what Nick Prado is, and Vinny is Vinny, and Sal is Sal, and Massey's Massey, it just lengthens your lineup, and then it lengthens your pitch. Those 3 guys, John Sherman goes out, and now all of a sudden you got 3 starting pitchers, because Sherman goes out and spends some money. You've got a lineup that's got 5 guys, maybe 6.
Got a little length to
it. That's it. They're 3 guys away. That is it. But unfortunately, all 3 of those guys right now,
crap in the bed at the same time.
Lynch got hurt, which that's crap in the bed.
Yep.
That's really harsh.
It's not his fault, but that's what he can sum it up to.
Well, it is his fault because he got hurt. But in the grand scheme of things, he hasn't pitched in the last 2 months.
Yes.
And that hurts.
Yes.
Singer sucks.
He's so bad.
And
MJ's struggling. Struggle bus.
MJ's bad right now. There's no other way to put
struggle
it.
Bus.
So that's why you were optimistic this year.
Yeah.
Is you thought all 3 of those
human
guys,
beings are on the roster for the most part to be, better than this. The problem is the human beings aren't playing up to their talent.
No, they're the opposite. They're doing the opposite. Coming up next, Nigel Kennedy. She's a badass. We're going to get to that coming up next here on Mic'd Up. Today we gave you updates. The game did not finish, but what a performance. Nigeria Kennedy, Topeka High product, was awesome against Oklahoma. Oklahoma ended up winning 2-0. She gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run.
To arguably and potentially the greatest softball team to ever exist.
I don't think if they win it, it is.
Yeah, if they win the three-peat, it is. And I even think if they don't, it might be.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won 49 straight games.
So
they're 57-1.
But I'll tell you this. She captured the hearts of people watching.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of people were like, wow, this Nigeria girl, the Kennedy, what a battler. And
we've been known.
It's one of those things where Oklahoma won the battle, but Kennedy won the war because of what she did against that roster.
Mm-hmm.
And she was 1 strike away from rolling out zeros through 5 innings, which
you don't do to Oklahoma.
Nobody's done that against Oklahoma.
No.
Like there was a stretch where she struck out the 2 best batters back to back for Oklahoma. They've never done that in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. So kudos to you. She might pitch tonight, 7:00 against Bama. Coming up though, we'll talk Big 12. Into Mic'd Up, Jake LeBon along with Fulton Caster with you. Got a lot of Royals to get to. We will also discuss plenty of Big 12 news. That will be coming up. In fact, we're going to get to some Big 12 in the 1 o'clock hour. And we're going to talk with Jesse Newell coming up as well in the 1 o'clock hour. Everyone loves the list. Today, it is National Donut Day. I love donuts.
Donuts rule.
Donuts, I think, are one of the 5 most unhealthy foods you can eat.
They're up there.
They are so bad for you.
Yeah, it's just fried dough.
And it's so good.
Oh, it's delicious.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go with our favorite donuts.
Doctor could tell me they needed me to cut out donuts to, like, tack on an extra 10 years to my life. I'd say, well, I guess I'm losing an extra 10 years.
I probably wouldn't do that.
Buddy, I'd consider it. Depends on what stage of life I'm at, too.
The whole,
Like, if that extra 10 years gets me to, like, 65, 70, okay. If I've done so much to screw up that I need extra work to get that far, then maybe I'll change my mind.
if I make it to like 84, then to get to 94, I'm going to eat the donuts. Probably just going to eat the donuts.
What if it gets you from, like, 60 to 70?
Oh, I'm done with donuts.
Okay.
Done with donuts.
70 to 80.
I'm done with donuts. I think once you get to 80,
Okay. For me, the number you get to when you stop caring is lower than 80. 80's too far.
That's what I'm saying. All you have to do is get to, if you get to
No,
80,
I'm like, 80 is just too far by itself.
No,
80's too far.
I'm saying, like, if you get to 80, you did well.
Oh, no, I agree. No, if you get to 80, for sure, stop.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Enjoy your life.
Yeah. If you get to 90,
really just start enjoying yourself.
no, like, you really can't enjoy yourself at 90.
It depends. Maybe you got some spry 90-year-olds out there.
There are not many of them. Okay.
Maybe you got some spry 90-year-olds out there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, after 80, it's like, you're probably not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. Now, if you hit 80, just start pounding donuts, pound Dr. Peppers, drink all you want to drink, smoke all you want to smoke.
Yeah, exactly.
You're 80.
Yeah.
You've done it.
Yeah.
You've achieved it.
The life quality after 80 is not, at least in my, in being around people who are above 80, not great.
Yeah.
Not great. So yeah, we're gonna do donuts. Love donuts.
Love donuts. Man.
I'll be interested. I'm very specific with my donuts.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm fairly specific.
love donuts.
I'm probably not as specific as you are, but I'm fairly specific in what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. Alrighty. Some more news coming out about DeAndre Hopkins and what he's looking for. And I'm going to tell you this right now. The Chiefs have no chance now. Eliminate the Chiefs. The Chiefs are essentially, if this is true, the Chiefs are the Texans, the Chiefs are the Titans, the Chiefs are the Cardinals, the Chiefs are the Packers. Like, DeAndre Hopkins isn't interested in any of those teams. And now you might as well throw in the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the Broncos. The Chiefs are the Steelers. The Chiefs are the insert team here, that doesn't have a great quarterback, not very good, right? That's what's happening. I don't see the Chiefs signing DeAndre Hopkins if this is true. And according to Tim Graham of The Athletic, Hopkins is looking for a deal on the same level as the one-year contract Odell Beckham Jr. got from the Ravens, which came in with $15 million guaranteed salary, up to $3 million in incentives. The Chiefs have no chance at that. Absolutely none. Cross him off the list then. No, there's no point.
Fantastic reference.
And we're not going to, we won't talk about it after this segment because there's no point. None. And we are going to find out, honestly, if Odell Beckham Jr. is truthful to, he wants to be on a winner. He wants to be with a quarterback who is invested. He's named the quarterbacks. He has named them. He has named them. They are the Bills, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Those are the 5 quarterbacks that he talked about. Interesting that he did not mention Aaron Rodgers, did not mention Dak Prescott, did not mention Joe Burrow. But the reason why they didn't mention Joe Burrow is they got weapons.
I have to imagine you didn't bring up the Bengals because he knows, like, that's just...
Yeah.
There's no room.
There's no room. So, but if you think about the other 4 teams all the 5 teams listed. The Bills, right? No cap space. The Eagles, no cap space. The Chiefs, no cap space. The Ravens, got some cap space.
Tiny bit.
The Chargers, no chance.
I disagree because I'm looking at the Chargers cap space right now. Do you know how much cap space the Chargers have?
The reason why I don't think the Chargers fit is because they've got 3 guys who play the same damn position.
No, it's fine if you say it's because of fit.
Yeah, okay.
Cap space is the incorrect point. That was my point. The Chargers have over $11 million in cap space. They could make the cap work. I agree with you on fit. That I agree.
They got Mike Williams, they got Keenan Allen, and they just drafted
Quentin Johnson.
It makes no sense.
They would have that point between Williams, Johnston, and Hopkins, 3 go-get-it.
Yes.
Which is a little redundant.
Yeah. The Bills, I don't know how the Bills
financially
are
fit
going to financially. Yeah. At that salary, the Bills are considered to be a long shot to add the 5-time All-Pro.
Yeah, the Bills are in cap hell.
That's why the Chiefs, they're if the Chiefs didn't sign Odell at this price, they're not going to sign DeAndre Hopkins. That's the reason why. I mean, we know the Chiefs' limit. The Chiefs said, yeah, we're not paying you, Juju. We're not paying you the $11 million that you want. I'm surprised but the Chiefs said, no, we're not going to do it. What makes you think the Chiefs are going to spend that much money on DeAndre Hopkins for 1 year? No. I just don't see this happening if you are the Kansas City Chiefs. If this is the number, if it dips below this number and it's in the $10 million range instead of the 15, now we're talking. If it's $7 million, now $3 million bonus, maybe get you to 10. Okay. But we're going to find out if DeAndre Hopkins is true to his word. I want to be on a winner. I want someone who can win the Super Bowl. Yeah. I want to be with a competent head coach. I want to be with a quarterback who's invested, And I know that the Patriots make a lot of sense, right? Yeah, your quarterback might be invested in Mac Jones, but
he sucks.
He's not any good. And I'm sorry, Bailey Zappi ain't the guy. That guy's not leading you past the Dolphins or the Bills. It's just not going to happen.
No, it's not. And I'm interested to see what DeAndre Hopkins does, because if he wants this financially, his 2 goals might not align. The goal of I want to be on, some really successful winner just might not align with certain financial goals. That being said, we have no idea if this is actually what he's looking for. As we saw throughout, we've seen this many times with contract negotiations. Just because someone reports a player's looking for X, Y, or Z on their money does not mean they actually are looking for X, Y, or Z on their money. Odell was obviously looking for a lot. He got $15 million guaranteed from Baltimore, which is still asinine. But there are people being like, Odell's looking for 20 to 23 million guaranteed, or 20, 23 million a year. And Odell was like, nah, man, that's not what I said. I just didn't want 5. And that's where, I'm interested to see if this truly is what DeAndre wants. And it wouldn't surprise me, because if I'm DeAndre, I look at that guy in Odell and I go, I'm better than him. And I played football last year, so I deserve more money. And I'm not going to fault him for that, but it's just, you might not get to have both things. And so you have to kind of make a concession on, do you want a nice big bag for your 1 year? Or do you want to play and ring chase and go get that title? Because I don't know if those, because even the Eagles, who have, I think, kind of the most cap space among this group, I don't even know how much they could make that work with things they got going on. They got to think about their own futures and stuff to do. And they've paid Jalen Hurts, but, that's going to kick in eventually and all those different things. So and also, if I'm DeAndre, the only thing I got about Philly is they throw the ball some, but they still like to run the football a lot too.
And Philly doesn't need them. Need DeAndre Hopkins. Philly
would be a case of they truly want to get a little better, because you don't need to pair DeAndre Hopkins with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
And Devontae Smith. And out that would, should you spend, whatever the cap space is somewhere else that maybe would benefit you than the wide receiver position if you are Philly?
Yeah.
So, but whereas the Chiefs, they don't have an A.J. Brown. They don't even have a Devonta Smith.
No.
If we're talking about wide receivers. Okay, they got an A.J. Brown in Travis Kelce, but they don't have anybody on the caliber of Devonta Smith. And then after that, I think Dallas Goedert's a good player.
Yes, good tight end.
So that's where I think that's a little bit different when it comes to A.J. Brown and where the Chiefs are. The Bills, they could use him. They could.
Yeah.
He'd
be a great compliment to Stephon Diggs.
And then you add in, Gabe Davis is your deep threat number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that works out pretty well.
The Bills would be a very, very nice fit. I just don't know how they financially make it work.
I don't think it's possible. Well, it is, but then...
It is. It takes a lot of work.
Well, it would take a lot of work, and then what you're doing is, as we say this a lot, you're kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
You would end up having to do a lot. You would basically be pushing all in.
Yeah.
This year, and you're just like, next year
it makes it even bigger problem.
It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I just don't. What I like Odell, what I like DeAndre Hopkins on the Chiefs at the right place, 1,000%, 1,000%. I just now really can't. See
and the benefit to Brett Veach, and it's one of his better traits is, and we've seen to this point, Brett Veach gets a number and he draws the line, and he says, if you are not willing to meet us at that number, have a good day.
Yep.
Have a good day, sir. Because we're not going above our line.
Yep.
We will not be pressured into negotiations. And it's a really good trade.
Coming up next, we are going to talk about the NBA Finals. And if you love basketball, just the game, this is a fun finals. We'll explain next here on Mic'd Up. Finals, game 1 was yesterday, and if you just look at the box score, we call box score watching a lot, it was not, it looked like it was a competitive game. 11-point game. In reality, it wasn't at all. Miami scored 42 points and a half.
Yeah.
That's it. They scored 42 points and a half. They scored 93 in a game. That's awful. That's real bad. And the Nuggets didn't even play great. They won by 11 and controlled the game and didn't even play that well. Here's the thing about this this Denver Nuggets team. And this I've seen a lot of this where, the Nuggets are not a draw, they're not flashy, they're not sexy. And the Heat don't have star power. They have Jimmy Butler, but I wouldn't consider him a superstar draw. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's an all-star, really, really good player, but Jimmy Butler is not on the same level as sexiness, superstar-ish as the guys like a Steph, a Durant, a Curry, those types, right? Even a Giannis, that type of thing. I wouldn't even consider Jimmy Butler on the same level as like a Jason Tatum. Okay. Mm-hmm. Really good player. I'm not like knocking him. It's just, superstar has to bring something else to the table. Mm-hmm. And yes, this is not the most sexiest series. It's not. But man, if you just like watching basketball, the Denver Nuggets are awesome.
They're a clinic, man.
If you love spacing, if you love shooting, if you love, everything that they do is technically sound, and they're put together terrifically when you got a unicorn like a Nikola Jokic. And then you've got a guy who's a bucket getter. Like, to me, Jamal Murray is almost like the young version of Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. Okay? He's not a superstar. Really good player. Starting to come into his own. Mm-hmm. Can shoot it. And when he gets on a heater, man, Jamal Murray is excellent. Just like Jimmy Butler. And they got great role pieces. Mm-hmm. They really do. And Jokic he's the queen on the chessboard. He can do everything, and he sees it so clear. He looks like he's going in slow motion, but I think the game even looks like he's going in super slow motion to other people, like to himself. Like he's seeing stuff, 2 and 3 steps ahead. This team is they know their roles. It's such a good basketball team, and that's why in an NBA Finals game against the Heat team who plays good defense, They shot 50% from the field. They shot 50% from the field. And they just put on an absolute offensive clinic. And they didn't shoot the three well at all. I think they shot like 28%, which is not good for that Nuggets team.
Yeah.
And the Heat came back and got it to within 9, with like 5 minutes to go. Man, within 9, come on. That's 3 full possessions where the Nuggets have to not score. And guess what they did? They did score. They fed it into the big fella. Jokic, little baby hook. Good. They get a stop. And it's back up to 13. The Nuggets were not threatened. But the Nuggets are so good. I know, and I got to ask Dan this question. The Nuggets are not a fun, sexy, oh my gosh, draw of basketball. They're not. But they're so good at it. And they remind me of the Duncan-led Spurs.
They do. And here's my thing. Here's where I go. Because this has been making the rounds far too much. Of, this finals is going to be boring. And, no one's going to tune in. And, it's terrible for the NBA that this is the finals matchup. Here's the thing. And I'm going to use a phrase I've seen many other people use. This is not a phrase of my own. But I'm starting to agree with it more and more. Man, do any of y'all who like the NBA actually like basketball?
I don't know.
Do any of you out there actually like the game of basketball? Because if you like the game, like the game itself,
for sure.
Not highlights on SportsCenter, not the and one mixtape stuff, not any of that. The actual fundamental game we are playing. Then the Denver Nuggets should be your favorite team ever.
They're
Outside
awesome.
of maybe some Spurs teams.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Like, because that's all they do. And like, the people that, try to act like, Nikola Jokic isn't some like amazing top tier, should be face of the league. Watching Nikola Jokic is the most fun I ever had watching a game. Because yes, Nikola Jokic will never send you home with this big poster dunk and get right in a guy's face and slam it home. No, he's a 7-foot man who doesn't dunk. It's really weird and funny. But that man is the best fundamental big man I've ever seen. Well, like, he's averaging a triple-double as a 7-foot center.
Yeah, he
had 10 assists at half.
He is, to me, he's the center version of LeBron.
Yes.
That's what he is.
Like, everyone's calling this finals boring because there's not going to be the great SportsCenter highlights of like, oh, the teams are shooting 1 billion threes and they're trading these highlight dunks. No. But it's for like the purest of like back cuts and rotations and sets and well-designed play sets and screens. The actual fundamentals of the game, you are going to love this finals.
I think it's get open looks,
yeah.
Man,
again, if you like basketball, you will like this finals.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're a casual fan, this does not interest you.
Nope.
It doesn't. Coming up, we're going to talk with Jesse Newell. Fulton, hour number 2. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get to our list, which is our favorite donuts. It is National Donut Day today. We will talk about the Big 12, how much money the Big 12 is going to be handing out to its conference members. Some interesting thoughts on expansion for Brett Yormark. Is the Big 12 still open for business? We'll get to that coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line, 785-272-9429. Let us know on our text line as well, 785-272-9429. Very simple, very easy. Give us your thoughts on this Friday edition. Doesn't feel like a Friday. with the whole Monday being
Oh,
off thing.
it feels like a Friday to me, man.
It does. It doesn't feel like a Friday to me.
Buddy, I got vacation starting as soon as I'm off the show today. It feels like a Friday to me.
You're like a senior right now.
Oh yeah,
in April.
Yep.
Where you're like, man, I just don't even want to go to class. You're already thinking right now of, what bait you're going to use on your little fishing trip and that type of thing. So yeah,
a little bit. I did find out. I didn't have to bring up the suggestion. We already were planning a golf trip without me knowing. I was told to make sure to bring my clubs. I didn't have to bring it up to them because it was off your advice. I was going to bring it up to them. And they're like, no, we're going.
Yeah, you have to.
So I'm already thinking of that too.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah. But right now, we're going to be joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone lines with our good friend, Jesse Newell, covers the Chiefs for the Kansas City Star. Jesse, are you a fisherman? Do you like to fish?
I am not much of a fisherman. My dad is, my brother is, but I never got the bug. So, yeah, I'm glad other people enjoy it though. And this seems like a pretty nice day for it, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. Do you like to golf? Are you a golf man?
I have not golfed enough to be a golf man.
Okay.
I'm probably at the point where I need to just stick to Top Golf. That way if the ball goes and caroms in different directions, I don't have to go find it or pick it up.
Yeah. I've always said this about golf. Either you're into it or you shouldn't be at all. There's no point into to half it with golf, because if you half it with golf, you're not going to have fun. And you should never do an activity unless you have fun with it. Like you said there, I'm not going to enjoy it if I go out there and, shank it all over the place and spend 3 hours and not have any fun. But in order to have fun at golf, I think you got to be semi-decent at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you remember back, I did spend a couple of years speaking at Capital Journal, and every once in a while those guys go out golfing. The problem for me is Brent Maycock's really good and Kevin Haskins really good and Tim Beissel's really good. And so he's like, yeah, I'll just meet you guys when you're done and have a beer with you afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly what you said. None of those guys won't be dumping it out there and shooting 150. They want to go play golf, and that's great. So I just sort of have to avoid that and go meet them for food after.
Well, see, that's the thing though. You like poker though. I do know that you're a Hold'em guy. If I sat down on the same table with you at Hold'em, I would be the version of you golfing at Hold'em.
Yeah.
I know how to play. I don't know how to bet. I don't know. I mean, you'd read me what's his name? Teddy KGB there, off of Rounders, Doug, or no, what's Matt Damon's character's
You're
name?
looking at the wrong guy.
Come on. Wait a minute. You've never seen Rounders?
We've been over this, Jake. I've never seen Rounders.
One of the best movies of all time, is it not, Jesse?
It's really good. It's this weekend, maybe after fishing. There it is.
Mike McD, he could read everybody. Jesse be reading me like a book. I mean, it would be unfair, So, everybody's got their strengths, Jesse. So, but anyways, we could talk all sorts of craziness here. I gotta know, Jesse, what was OTAs like yesterday?
Good. I mean, I think this is fine for this particular year, but this hasn't been the most exciting offseason for the Chiefs. And I mean, that's good, right? I mean, they just won the Super Bowl. There's just not too much turmoil. There's not too much going on. And so really the sort of viral stuff that's happening right now in OTAs is when the Chiefs post a social media video of Justin Ross making a catch, and it makes its way across the internet. And, all the national experts wonder if he's the, second coming of Jerry Rice, that sort of thing. But they dealt with a little bit of heat yesterday. Obviously, we were out there for the couple hours of practice, and not as bad as it was here a couple weeks ago for the rookie mini camp when it was really, really hot. But yeah, guys out there getting work. It's a voluntary thing, so not everybody was out there. For instance, Travis Kelce wasn't out there yesterday. Chris Jones hasn't been out there for the 2 weeks. But, Patrick Mahomes is out there, and he has been out there the last 2 weeks, and they're looking to try to make sure that everything is in place and ready for when they hit training camp. They can be all systems go, and that's sort of the point of the offseason you're at. The NFL really tries to stretch this thing into a 12-month sport. It's kind of difficult at this point when rosters are settled, just because there aren't that many intriguing, crazy storylines, and that's honestly a good thing for the Chiefs, who seem to be pretty settled in place and pretty happy with their standing, especially after winning a Super Bowl last year.
Is there anything you can really take away from an OTA? Like watching it, like, man, that guy looks really good in short shorts.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, you know this. You played. It's not like you can't take anything away from it, but you just have to take the biggest grain of salt. You know what I mean? We were even talking yesterday with like Connor Embry, who I'm feeling old now, Jake. I covered him at Kansas as a football player, so you know that now some of the Chiefs' assistant coaches are guys that I covered in college when they were still athletes. But you know, he was talking about Justin Ross, who I just mentioned. You know, the undrafted free agent last year out of Clemson. He went undrafted for a while. People thought he might be like a first-round draft pick, and then he had problems with his back and his foot and all these injuries. But you know, he's made some plays in training camp. He made a big catch yesterday that you can see on social media, the Chiefs social media account, where he went up with two hands and caught a pass over his head. It was pretty impressive deep down the field. But even Connor Embry says, you know, I can't wait to see him in training camp. I can't wait to see what happens when the pads come on. I can't wait to see what he can really do when things are happening. And he referenced that, excuse me, last week when the bullets are flying. You know, when the pads are on, when you know you can get hit, it just takes on a different feel than right now. So you can see certain things. You know, I've been really impressed with Sky Moore the last 2 weeks, for example. He looks a bit bigger, looks like he knows what he's doing, gets in and out of route, you know, could project a big year for him regardless of what he has in OTAs. So you can get limited information, but in terms of putting the whole puzzle piece together, I just think it's really difficult at this point in time. And big reason, exactly what you said, is without pads and with kind of comes full circle in July and August.
We're talking with Jesse Newell on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line here on Mic'd Up. Covers the Chiefs for the Star. When it comes to the secondary, I think you can get a lot with, you know, corners. We know that they've got 4 really good corners. How have Nick Jones and Shamari Connor looked?
Yeah, again, the one thing you can kind of look at in these OTAs maybe more than others is the pass game, just because you know, if you're a defensive lineman, you're going in there, you're trying to go get the quarterback, but then you have to pull up and you can't. So quarterbacks, there's a lot of 7-on-7 drills, you know, 11-on-11s they do occasionally, and so there's a little bit more you can see there. Shamari Connor, for example, he had a pass breakup yesterday, and Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator, talked about that being a big moment for him, basically saying, hey, you know, he needs to have more of those moments to build his confidence, to see what he can do. And they've been putting Nick Jones at nickel there. So, again, 7th-round pick. Usually you don't expect a lot out of 7th-round picks, but obviously the Chiefs were spoiled last year with what they got from Jalen Watson and all the contributions he made. So we'll see on those guys. Again, I know Spagnuolo was really happy that Shamari Connor made a play, and he seems like he's going to be a special teams guy, if nothing else, the 4th-round pick that they traded up to get in this past year's draft. But as of right now, those guys are in the mix. They're mixing in with those other younger guys, and that secondary is super duper young if you look at it. You know, a bunch of second-year players: Josh Williams, Jalen Watson, and then you got L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, another second-year player, and then even Brian Cook, another second-year player who they got in the second round last year as a safety. So those guys, that projects to be one of the best positions on the team, you would think, just because of the youth there and the ability to develop. And Steve Spagnuolo yesterday said that they're light years ahead in the secondary compared to a year ago, just for knowledge and stuff. But we'll see how those guys fit in. I mean, the Chiefs took kind of more depth in an area where you figure that might already be one of the best spots that they have in the secondary. So how Connor and Jones fit in will also kind of impact how you feel about the entire group, just because they developed those guys last year. If they can do the same this year, then they should have a pretty stacked back end compared to what they've had in recent seasons.
If they develop, I don't think L'Jarius Sneed's on this team next year.
That'd be a great luxury, right? I mean,
they got 4 right now with Sneed, Watson, McDuffie, Williams. If Connor Jones is anything, or do you trade one of them? Maybe you trade one of them and you get, you know, other picks. If you want to, you don't need. That would be what, 6 corners. You don't need 6 really, really good corners on your team.
Be a great problem to have. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry is one of those guys that, you know, even Patrick Mahomes kind of singled out when he talked about last week how he doesn't feel like he has to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, you know, because it's kind of a fine line to walk where you want to make money for yourself and for your family, but you also want to help it. And if their contracts are ending, you want to keep good players around you. And he specifically mentioned Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. And, they love L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, Chiefs loves him, his ability to blitz, his ability to be kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can play back, he can play inside, he can play outside, he can come off the edge. We saw him make so many big plays for them and turnover creating plays for them last year. So I think they love him. It's just like you said. I mean, if Trent McDuffie is effective on the blitzes because it's Steve Spagnuolo's playbook, and he can do the same sort of similar things as a first-round pick, and he's in his second year, then yeah, I mean, we saw this last year a little bit with Rashad Fenton, right? We all thought the Chiefs would really rely on Rashad Fenton throughout the course of the season, and then when everybody was healthy, everybody came back, the Chiefs looked at their roster and went, well, he's kind of the odd guy out. They traded him. They traded him for a conditional pick and just relied on their young players. So it is one of those positions, though, and you hear a lot of really smart people in football talk about this. You just throw numbers at the secondary. You just keep throwing guys there, seeing what sticks. And it really worked out for the Chiefs a year ago, and they kind of stuck to the same philosophy this year. So if all these guys are developing and all these guys are players, they're left with a great problem to have, which is something that not many NFL teams out there do have. So if Nick Jones and Shamari Connor are developing the way that guys did last year, Joshua Williams, Brian Cook, those sorts of guys, Trent McDuffie, then the Chiefs will be very happy with whatever that gets them. And as you said, it can be either a trade of a player or moving on from a player and spending money elsewhere. And that's how really good football teams remain really good.
Do you think there's any chance that the Chiefs sign Hopkins?
I've been describing it. Would I be shocked? No. Would I be very surprised? Yes. And, I wrote about this today. The one thing that Matt Nagy, that Andy Reid, that Patrick Mahomes, all, without talking to each other, they were all asked about the wide receiver group in the past week and a half, and all of them said they are very happy with the numbers they have there, the depth. Patrick Mahomes said, hey, every given day you're like, oh, that guy, I see a pass to him make a team, and another guy will step up and do that. Matt Nagy talked about, hey, this is really competitive. Those guys go at each other, and they know they're competing for spots. And Andy Reid said, again, kind of the same thing along the Connor Embry line, which is like, you can't wait to get to training camp when those guys will really have the bullets flying at them so he can kind of parse out and see how those guys compete against each other. This will be tough right now as it stands for the Chiefs to get down to their 6 or 7 receivers because as it projects now, you would not have Justin Ross or John Ross on the projected 6 if you were going to keep the Chiefs at 6 and have them with, Justin Watson and Richie James taking up the last 2 spots in the receiver room. So, I mean, to me, Hopkins is a guy, it's just way more complicated than it seems. I mean, I know there's kind of a narrative out there like, he got released, so all they need is money. Well, it's not that easy because not only the salary cap, but the Chiefs were to make some maneuvers to get DeAndre Hopkins. They'd have to renegotiate with Chris Jones. They'd potentially have to redo Patrick Mahomes' contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have to have a money deal, basically, with DeAndre Hopkins to have not very much of the cap room come off this year. And a lot of that takes cash up front. I mean, you have to write checks now. And the Chiefs, historically over time, I mean, they go up to the cap, but they have not been a team that just sits down and writes $50 million checks in one offseason. They've kind of maintained a budget under Clark Hunt and really stuck to that. So we saw last year the Chiefs sort of proved the big question was, can they win without a true number 1 receiver, Tyreek Hill? And they sort of answered that question with a bullet, didn't they? I mean, they were able to be successful, and they also opened their window by trading Tyreek Hill instead of kind of shutting it like teams like the Bills did by going out and signing Von Miller or the Chargers going out and signing J.C. Jackson. Now those teams are a year further removed, and they didn't win the Super Bowl. So it seems to me the Chiefs, they just keep pushing to open their window. They know they have Patrick Mahomes. They don't have Andy Reid. They know they can be in the game every single year if they don't make drastic, crazy moves to go out and do these sorts of deals. So if they did get DeAndre Hopkins, it would just sort of step outside of that. Now, having said all that, I think they were interested in him earlier this offseason, and if they would have had the right order of operation here, if they could have traded him for a low-round draft pick, and Arizona would have picked up most of the contract, and then they could have drafted somebody different, then maybe that would have made some sense. But at this point in the game, I just don't think it does make very much sense for the Chiefs, and I think other NFL teams will make him better offers, and I honestly think Hopkins is going to take one of those.
Alrighty, last two for the road. Do the Chiefs extend Chris Jones this offseason?
Yeah, I think it gets done. It just doesn't seem like there's an urgency yet to do it, and I guess this thing can bleed over the next few months. There's not a super urgency to get it done with how everything sits right now. But You can make an argument again that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid can make up for not having Tyreek Hill. You can't make that argument for Chris Jones, who really is kind of on his own on the other side of the football. So I think both sides are interested. I think they will get something done long term. And if not, the Chiefs always have that part of doing what they did with Tyreek Hill. But I think that's something that they don't necessarily want, especially on a defense that has been just carried by Jones at certain times in the past few years.
All righty. Jesse, what are the odds that the Royals lose 100 games?
God, what, like 5% last week?
You said 10%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Jesse, you were right with me at 10%.
Fulton's kept all of these numbers. He's going to make a very, very pretty graph here soon.
I got to stick. Okay, it's higher than a week ago. I keep losing these close games. I'll go 20% now, but I still there's a lot of underlying numbers. There's a lot of underlying numbers that say they're going to be better from this point forward, and they're not going to keep losing one-run games. They're not going to be the worst team in Major League history when it comes to high-leverage clutch situations. But right now, that's what they are, and the more they do it, the more I think that they just are some weird outlier that my calculator can't explain. But I still don't think it's going to happen, guys. I still think at some point in time, when the bases are loaded, the Royals are going to hit in a clutch situation. I mean, maybe it won't happen, but I think it will at some point.
Jesse, you're the best, my friend. Have yourself a great rest of the weekend.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Jesse Newell. I love Jesse. He's great. Jesse's fantastic. Read all this stuff. Great.
Agreed.
Great beat reporter. Fantastic. Coming up next, our favorite donuts. What do we got?
I mean, it's simple. Number 4, the classic glazed donut. Basic, simple, amazing.
Number 4 for me, the lemon French cruller.
Ooh.
Love those. Light and fluffy. You bite into them, it feels like you're biting into air. Kind of cool, unique. Love a lemon French cruller.
That's a good call. Number 3 for me, chocolate glazed donut with sprinkles. Okay. Sprinkles are a great addition to any donut.
Okay.
I love sprinkles.
A little redundancy there. A little redundancy. You got glazed and then glazed with sprinkles.
Now I got chocolate glazed with sprinkles.
Oh, okay.
Did you not hear the chocolate part?
No, I did not.
No, chocolate glazed with
Okay,
sprinkles.
that is different. So it's a cake donut then. Okay.
Not a cake donut. A chocolate glazed donut. Not a cake donut.
So a
not
glazed
a cake
donut with chocolate flavor. So the donut's
Yeah.
still the same.
It's still the same donut, but we got chocolate on top
Okay,
with sprinkles.
okay.
So we're a little redundancy, but still there's difference.
You ready for this?
And they're great.
Number 3,
Mhm.
the donut hole.
Oh, I didn't think about that in the donut hole.
Popping them like
Yeah.
Skittles, baby. Love the
Okay.
donut hole. And you can get
Donut
them
holes are great.
a lot of different ways, but just the glazed donut hole.
Mm.
Technically not the whole of the donut, but you get it.
Number 2 for me, cake donut.
Cake donut.
I'm not really particular on my flavor, just the cake donut.
Okay.
In its simplicity state, the cake donut.
Number 2 for me, I've gotten to it more recently. The wife put me on it.
Okay.
Oh, the blueberry donut.
Oh,
The
good
blueberry
call.
donut. It's kind of a cake donut, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Love a blueberry donut.
Blueberry donut's a good call.
Man, I love a blueberry.
Yeah, blueberry's good.
Put it in donut form.
Oh, yeah.
Sign me up.
I feel you. Number 1 for me is very simple. I ate so many of these as a kid. Chocolate Long John.
Chocolate Long John.
Chocolate Long Johns are the best donut ever made.
Okay. Mine is
Perfection.
the maple Long John.
Okay.
But I need that puppy cream fill.
Okay. See, I don't need mine cream fill. I don't want the filling.
The goat donut, which
Okay.
I have come to realize nobody likes my favorite donut. Nobody likes it. I get made fun of by every one of my family members for getting, first of all, maple. Everybody
Maple's a
hates
fine call.
maple.
I won't judge you for that.
Okay.
Maple's a fine call.
But the cream-filled maple
Yeah.
Long John,
I get it.
the best.
The Long John in and of itself is the best donut.
Oh, man.
The Long John is the best donut.
Yeah.
You get so much donut.
Cream-filled maple Long
Yeah.
John. And it's the Boston cream, not the
I feel
jelly, the
I
cream.
get you. I get you.
Hit us up on the text line and let us know your favorite donut. We're going to talk all things Big 12 coming up next. Line Bavarian cream. Thanks. I'm hungry now.
Imagine how we feel.
Yep. Love donuts. Also, another one. Chocolate Bavarian cream-filled Long John, like a Boston cream pie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the maple Long
Yeah.
John Bavarian cream style.
Yeah.
I just like the maple. I don't know why. But man,
It's okay.
my wife makes fun of me for liking maple. She calls it like the loser flavor. Like she just makes fun of it. And
Wow.
so does my mother-in-law.
Heck of a family you got there, Jake.
They just they
Real loving right there.
They put the here. This is the look. It's super funny. But when we go get donuts,
Yeah.
As a family,
Yeah.
like a Saturday or something,
Yeah.
when the kids and everybody's around, donuts are easy to do.
Yeah.
They will put the maple cream filled Long John because they know that's all I want.
Yeah.
They know that. And if they go get donuts, they know bring me back a maple cream filled Long John.
Yeah.
They will put the maple cream filled Long John in its own separate bag because they don't
separate it.
They don't want it like
To contaminate everything else.
yeah, it's like it's like some discrimination. Like, oh, just because my maple filled Long John is next to your blueberry donut, like you're hanging out with the wrong crowd or something like that, They do. They're like, Jake, here you go. And they'll throw me the bag, which I'm actually okay with because then I don't have to like, where's my maple filled Long John?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's in the bag. Cool.
Heck of a family you got there, Jake.
Yeah.
Do the kids enjoy donuts?
Yes. Lawson loves donuts.
I assume.
I mean, what kid doesn't love it?
That's kind of
Who
my
hates
thought. I would have been
donuts?
surprised.
Literally, the only people who dislike donuts are health nuts.
That's fair. Do they have favorite donuts yet?
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know that you really get like a favorite preference at that
yeah,
point.
Of course they do.
Okay.
You know what it is?
What?
Yes.
Do they like sprinkles?
Anything with sprinkles.
Yeah.
He's 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
You don't have to.
I don't know. Maybe he wanted to be different. Maybe he wanted to be like his dad and have the maple filled Long John.
My son also knows that I love that, and there are times where he'll be like, Dad, here you go, and he'll hand me the maple cream with a bite missing.
Yeah, well,
one time he's like, Dad, I had to try it for you. Thanks.
Hey, he was making sure you weren't getting poisoned.
I'm all right with that. Well, I don't do that. I'm the one who's supposed to be taking the poison. Son, you don't need to be taking chances on the poison donut for me. It's the other way around.
You're the official taste tester.
Yes. Yeah, I weigh 200 more pounds than you, okay?
It's true.
I can handle something more so than you.
That's true.
So no, you don't need to be taking one for the team. You're 3. That is his trait, though. He's a very protective, like big brother type of kid. So it works out. You want to know what works out?
What's that?
$440 million going to the Big 12.
Yeah, that really works out.
Big 12's Brett Yormark met with the media today at Big 12 meetings, and this is what he says. The Big 12 will distribute $440 million in revenue. I don't know if you know this, but that's pretty easy to figure out. That averages out to $44 million per school. That's a pretty good effort there.
Yeah.
That's with everything. $44 million. That is number 3. Behind the SEC, behind the Big Ten. Well ahead of the Pac-12 and ahead of the ACC. And when the new contract kicks in, the Big 12 ADs believe that the total number, which is NCAA tournament revenue, the bowls, plus the college football playoff, will approach $50 million a year, which is number 3. You're not, you're not middle class. You're upper class. Are you not, you're not the
1%, though.
You're not the Jeff Bezos or, those individuals.
Mm-hmm.
That's the SEC and the Big Ten. But, you're not the minimum wage right now, okay? Like that's, like the Fun Belt and those, that conference. It's got like Fun Belt, and then you probably go MAC, then you probably go Mountain West. Then you'd probably go Pac-12, or where's the Americans? Probably Americans above the Mountain West. So it'd go Sun Belt, Conference USA, kind of the same.
Yeah.
Then you'd go the MAC, then the Mountain West, then the American, then the Pac-12, then the ACC. Then you got the Big 12, and then you got the two big dogs. So this is to me, a good situation for the Big 12. I really, really do think that. And that's why the Big 12 is at a spot where no one's trying to leave the Big 12 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where it used to be, we're going to try to leave somewhere. The Big 12 is rock solid third right now because people are now trying to leave their conferences to potentially join the Big 12. Talked about Colorado. Colorado leaves, then that really makes an interesting situation for Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. Oregon and Washington already have feet out the door. They just don't have the official offer yet. They got their suit on. They got ready to go. They bought the gift. They're just waiting for the text message.
Yeah.
You know, they're in the car waiting for the "you up" text. And then they're willing to drive over at 2 a.m. That's what they are.
Might need some help if you're one of those people.
In this situation, if you're Oregon or Washington, man, they would die for that "you up" text.
They
right
would.
now. Can't seem too eager though. You can't just drive over there and knock on the door. Then you get a little too pushy. Sometimes you don't like. You gotta be wanted a little bit, you know. So that's where I think we're at. The ACC, same situation. So the Big 12 is in a good spot.
A real good spot.
$44 million this upcoming year. But do you remember 3 years ago? Oh, we don't have any money. Oh my gosh. We're so poor. Oh, COVID. Oh, we got to cut all these salaries. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What a joke.
I'm poor, I scream from the top of my yacht.
I need a bigger one.
Please, give me some relief funding, I scream as I shovel caviar into my mouth.
Who was it? It was it Paul Allen, rest in peace, the owner of the Seahawks. His main yacht was getting worked on, so he had to go to his backup yacht.
Let me be very, very clear.
I think that's what it was.
If you have a backup yacht,
I think that's what it was.
You're a level of rich that makes me hate you a little bit. Just a tad. More so if you start complaining about needing funding for things.
I want to say he had
backup yacht.
Yeah. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's super yacht lists for $90 million. But his one yacht didn't
got too much money on your hands if you're doing that. Far too much.
Yeah. Yes. See here. Yeah. He had his 300 million yacht back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then just this last September 2022, his second super yacht hit the market for $90 million. He had a yacht and a backup yacht.
Please, everyone, I need your help with some of my financial expenses, I say as I shop through all of my Rolex watches.
He got a backup yacht. Anyway.
Please, everyone, give me some money, I say as I drive away in my gold-plated Ferrari. I could go all day with these, you guys can tell.
I'm going to do you one better. Hey, look at me. I need help paying for a stadium, said $2 billion owner Clark Hunt. Oh, hey, I could use some taxpayer money there, Jackson County, said billionaire John Sherman.
Pay for your own stuff.
There we go. Anyway.
Pay for your own things.
So the Big 12 getting up $440 million. Yormark also had some other things to talk about. So this is what Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark had to say about expansion. Quote, "We had a great discussion about expansion and we have a plan. We have an appetite to be a national conference and we believe in the upside of basketball." Interesting. "We love our current composition. Love the 4 new schools coming in. However, if the opportunity presents itself to create value, we will pursue it. I'm not going to address expansion beyond that today, but it is a focus of ours. So he kind of said we're open for business, but we're not.
Yeah.
He says it is a focus of ours. If the opportunity presents itself to create value, we will pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to address it again. So maybe they're not actively pursuing it, but if the opportunity presents itself. So the answer is they are super open for business.
Yeah, the answer is we're open. We're just not we're not shopping. Like, we're not taking the basket and moving around the store.
We let the store come to us.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Colorado, sending Brett Yormark the U up text. That's technically not the Big 12.
They're not sending the DMs out, but their DMs are open.
Yeah. So they definitely 100% are open for business.
Oh, yeah.
If it is a focus of theirs. He also says this: we do see an upside in basketball moving forward for the right reasons. We think it's undervalued, and there's a chance to double down as the number 1 basketball conference. But football is the driver, and we all know that. The interesting thing about this is the football teams that they've added are the 4 worst teams in the Big 12.
I think I disagree with that.
West Virginia?
Yeah.
Now, Cincinnati with Luke Fickell.
Yeah, we don't know what Cincinnati is going to be. We don't know that.
As of right now,
yeah.
That's not,
Because, Cincinnati's probably not going to be great. They'll get a step back under Scott Satterfield. We'll see. Houston or Dan Holgerson got housed by KU and have their own infighting.
But here you go. Okay, ready? You're right. I was wrong. Of the 4 new teams, they are not the 4 worst.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Because West Virginia exists.
Yes, they're going to be so bad.
So, of the 4 teams that they're bringing in,
they're not great football teams.
Well, they're after West Virginia. And here's what Vegas thinks. Ready? West Virginia, lowest total, 4.5. Okay. Next lowest total, Houston, 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Same as West Virginia. Next lowest total, Cincinnati, 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, you've got Houston and Cincinnati at 4.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So the next one, 5.5, Iowa State.
Okay? Yeah, Iowa State gonna be stinky.
Then BYU at 6.
Okay.
So right there, you've got BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. The only 2 teams that are them or worse is Iowa State and West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So they're 3 of the 4 schools, and UCF is at 6.5.
Yeah.
Tied with KU, Oklahoma State, and that's it. KU and Oklahoma State.
No.
So if you look at that, they're not bringing in great football teams.
Yeah, they're not adding top tier of the market football teams. What they're adding, at least in the terms of Houston, especially, and Cincinnati, are some higher ceiling basketball programs. Now, Cincinnati's been kind of on a downturn. It's late, but overall, usually pretty competitive. BYU has been, I think, quietly competitive on the basketball side of things.
See, I think they brought in BYU because BYU's got a strong fan base.
Oh, yeah, no. BYU's driving factor was that's money. BYU was we're about to line some pockets.
So they got BYU.
And then UCF a little bit too with how big their alumni base is.
Exactly. And Houston because of what it could be.
Yeah.
I think that's what
because that foothold in Houston's good. So there's a lot of different reasons here, but I spoke about this briefly with Brendan and Dan yesterday on Crosstalk on 580 Sports Talk. I really think the Big 12 is moving so much towards basketball's their thing that it's not that they're going to discount football because football still makes money. It's its own thing. And I'm hoping at some point we can get kind of a split with football and basketball a little bit because football is just such its own beast at this point. But better basketball brands are what the Big 12 should be hunting for, and it looks like they kind of are. In even some of the remarks Brett Yormark made today, because it gives you a brand. It gives you a brand.
I think and that's the other thing that Brett Yormark brought up today. He brought up about the brand for Big 12. He said the conference will have a brand refresh next year. He classifies that a Big 12 refresh is just a visual identity. It's not a logo change and certainly not a name change.
Okay, so we're not going to become the Big 20.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the basketball side of things, to me, how I look at the Big 12, I look at the Big 12 as it's anybody's game. That's their brand. You know, it used to be one true champion, and then Oklahoma and K-State shared the title, and they were like, maybe we should do that.
Maybe we need to adjust that a little bit.
But you don't know who's going to. That's like Paul Meyerberg, when we had Paul on, he's like, I have no idea who's going to win. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
In the SEC, we know it's going to be one of three teams. It's going to be Georgia, Alabama, and then, you know, LSU every now and then, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we know. In the Big Ten, we know it's going to be Ohio State, Michigan, and then whatever schmuck comes out of the leaders division, or was it the legends division? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But that's why I think the Big 12 has a brand and a fan base. Is if you're a fan of K-State and you know you've got a chance to win the Big 12 almost every year, you have a chance. And that's the same thing if you are a Baylor fan, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, if you are, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You're a TCU fan, you're Texas Tech this year. You know, we've got a chance because there's no dominant program.
Yeah.
Your casual alumni base is going to be invested.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, you know, in the Big Ten and you're an Illinois fan, you have no chance. You have none.
Yeah.
You're just going on the fact that there are some diehard. That's why the SEC is the SEC. Even if Ole Miss fans know that they suck, or Mississippi State fans know that they suck, they're still going to watch because that's
what you do.
Yeah, it's like their identity. That's in their DNA. Whereas elsewhere, it's not. And that's why the Pac-12 is why the Pac-12 is the Pac-12. Because they're out west, we're going to do other things. But adding basketball, that just, to me, it's football driven, because even if you add in football teams that are not very good, you still don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
And then it makes basketball a lot more fun. So I do think the brand refresh will be interesting.
I'm fascinated by that.
How they're going to go about that. But I think the Big 12 will end up expanding.
Yeah.
We're just remember when the Big 12 or the Pac-12 presidents were like, yeah, we're creating the new media deal anytime. It was like in April. It ain't coming. Coming up, we will get to some veterans in the NFL on the move. We'll also talk a little on Second Thought and preview the series between the Royals and the Rockies, two of the best teams in Major League Baseball. Mic'd up on this Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Despite the gigantic lightning clap that just happened, I don't believe severe weather is in the forecast. But that lightning clap,
oh boy,
that startled everybody. I don't know if you heard that here on the western side of Topeka. I don't know.
I can't lie to you. That made me clench up a little bit.
I said, whoa, where did that come from? There are some potential T-storms that could be in the area coming up around 3-4 o'clock. So we will let you know if that is the case. But that was a loud one.
That was an actual crack.
Yeah, that was close here.
That's
the good old.
We're gonna look outside to see a tree on fire because it got hit by lightning.
It could.
That is the sound it would make.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Apparently, when like trees get hit by lightning, it's like an explosion happening. You hear like a little crack, like something pop.
Well, it's just lightning in general. That's the whole thunder, So that was loud. Like that was.
Yeah, it's very loud.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, rain's coming down.
Yeah, it's pouring now.
Yeah,
it is pouring. So it is raining here, at least on the western side of the capital city here at Huntoon and Wanamaker.
Anything worse happens, we'll keep you updated.
Yep, we will. We'll preview the Royals-Rockies series coming up. Why, I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Bragging rights.
These are the two of the three worst teams in baseball?
At least two of the three. We could maybe expand the list a little bit. Because it's not great. It's like, man, the Rockies are 24-34. They're not doing great. The Royals aren't great. The A's are bad.
Well, the A's are the worst. But then does it go the Royals next and then the Rockies?
I'm pulling up the standings to see if there's anybody I'm forgetting for consideration or anybody that I'm improperly considering to give consideration to. So,
like the Nationals are better than both, even though they have the same record, I think.
Nationals are technically two games better in the loss column than the Colorado Rockies and have a better run differential. The
Cubs, despite 24 wins, are better than the Rockies to me.
Yeah, honestly, I would say this are two of the three worst teams.
Yeah,
I'd say we go Colorado, Kansas City, Oakland as the three worst teams in the league in that order.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but just to show you how bad the Royals are, the Royals have won 17 games. The Rockies have won 7 more than the Royals.
Yeah, they really have.
That's 33% of the Royals wins more than what the Royals have done.
I will say we're going to get just an absolute battle of who can break a bad skid here. The Royals are 8-21 at home this year.
Yep.
The Rockies are 9-20 on the road.
Yep.
The road Rockies are horrible. The Royals can't win at most places, and for the most part, can't win at home. Also, this is just fun for me. Do you know what the Oakland A's run differential is?
It's historically bad.
It's a stupid fun number.
It's historically bad.
Yeah, it is.
And right now they are historically bad.
Yeah, they are. They've won 20% of their games. It's minus 195.
Yeah, that's real bad.
No one has a positive differential bigger than that. The only other team with triple digits on their differential is two teams, actually. I apologize. The plus 131 Texas Rangers and the plus 119 Tampa Bay Rays.
Here's the thing. It's a lot harder to be plus that than negative that.
It's hard to be both. Minus 195 is hard.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, and no, I'm going to explain to you why I don't know if it is. You don't try. I mean, the Oakland Athletics are doing the real life major league. Yeah. She's trying to do the Ted Lasso. Like, that's what the A's are doing right now. They're doing the Ted Lasso. I'm watching Ted Lasso right now. They just sent away Jamie Tart.
Oh man, you're getting real close to the end of season 1.
Yeah, they didn't
send him away. Man City recalled the low.
But that's because
it's because Rebecca was being mean.
Yeah.
It's such a great show. This is more akin to Major League than that, because that was not with an idea of like selling the club. That was just, to ruin someone's life.
Yeah.
Major League was the idea of like, we're going to be bad so that we can sell the club.
Correct.
John Fisher's like not being bad to sell the club, but that's part of why he's being bad, is so that way no one will try to keep the team around and plummet everything so we can just leave.
Yeah.
So
it's real life.
It's real life Major League is what's happening in Oakland.
Yep. By the way, Sassy just showed up in Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, Sassy's great.
She's got the hots for the Marlboro Man.
Sassy is fantastic.
So that was the ending of the last episode. Sassy.
Yeah, you only got like a couple episodes left if Jamie just got recalled.
Yeah, I don't know what episode we're on. We're just watching it.
Yeah.
Not worrying about it, So yeah, but Sassy just went into the hotel room of Ted.
Oh,
Ted's in the dumps because of yeah. Don't want to give too much.
We're not trying to spoil too much.
We're
but
not. We're not.
Ted not in a great place at that point, but
no, Sassy
gets better.
She is sassy.
Yeah, she is.
I get why.
It's fitting.
I get why. Here's some names that are interesting who could be on the move. Matt Verderam, friend of 580 Sports Talk, has these individuals potentially on the move. And some of them are interesting. Guys such as Patrick Queen, who could be traded between now and the start of training camp. Okay. Patrick Queen, linebacker for the Ravens. Gabe Davis. Now, he says, let's be clear, it's unlikely to move Davis this summer in the midst of a potential Super Bowl season.
Mm-hmm.
But final year of his rookie deal, they won't be able to sign him because they're in a much more difficult cap situation than the Chiefs. He's going to command not good money, but decent money. So maybe try to get something for him. So Gabe Davis. What about Joe Mixon for the Bengals? Interesting there.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon for the Bengals. Would the Broncos want to trade Jerry Jeudy?
That one fascinates me.
Says here, for months, the talks have been the Broncos moving on from one of their veteran receivers. The talk hasn't calmed down with Denver selecting Marvin Mims of Oklahoma. Maybe Denver decides not to make any subtractions, but if the Broncos are going to trade one of their established pass catchers, Jeudy would fetch the biggest return. By trading Jeudy, the Broncos would almost certainly net a top 50 pick while also saving $15 million over the next 2 years. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, according to Matt Verderam, could be on the move. The Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the last pick of the 2020 first round. He'd be a core piece. That hasn't materialized. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. There's 1 year left on his rookie deal. Chiefs general manager Brett Veach would absolutely take any call with an offer, even if it's a late-round pick with conditions. Should the Chiefs field no calls, a release is unlikely, as it only save the Chiefs a few $million.
I'm really interested to see if Clyde gets traded.
I don't think they should.
Yeah?
And the reason why is you still need 3 running backs. And
Yeah.
Jerick McKinnon is not a year-long running back.
Yeah.
He's good for about 10 games. And
Yeah.
they normally deploy their pass receiving touchdown weapon in the second half of the season and for the playoffs. Because he was awesome in the playoffs in 2022. Good last year. And now they got Pacheco. And Pacheco runs so hard that it concerns me. So if you have 3 guys and Clyde, Pacheco, and Jet, I think that's good. So I don't know if I would trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire this offseason for a late round pick. I just say, hey, you know what? We need some depth there. And, now if OTAs and they see another running back that's a free agent of that sort who looks pretty darn well, then okay. But you need 3 to 4 running backs.
You do. Where I'm interested with Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, and I think he'll get the entire preseason to show off what he can do, and partly to see what role he can fit on the Chiefs offense, and then part of it as essentially a showcase to other teams to see if anybody needs help. For me, it comes down to what does Deneric Prince do? He was pretty much the Chiefs' most priority undrafted free agent. He was the first guy to pick up on. There's been some light buzz, but again, it's OTAs, it's rookie mini camps, so take everything with the tiniest grain of salt at this point. But if he does well and goes, wow, that's a competent third back that we're comfortable getting NFL touches. If someone called him was like, hey, we'll take Clyde, give you a 6th-round pick for it. And your thought is, do I want an extra 6th-round pick? Or do I want Clyde as my 3rd-string running back?
For 1 year.
And at that point, if I feel comfortable with other options on the roster, I send him away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's an active deal or like I'm actively trying to get rid of him. But he is definitely listen, if everything shakes out properly and we got other running backs who can do the job and someone's willing to give us like a 6th or even a 5th, especially a 5th, but like a 6th-round pick for him, Clyde, happy trails.
Another potential vet on the move, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we talked about him, Jerry Jeudy, Joe Mixon, Gabe Davis, Patrick Queen. Here's another interesting one. And this one to me makes the most sense. Chandler Jones of the Raiders. We saw this coming.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was not a huge Chandler Jones guy signing Chandler Jones for the Chiefs.
We said the Chiefs shouldn't do it. We made fun of the Raiders when they did it.
He's 33 years old, due $14 million. Had 4.5 sacks the last 15 games. Not good. They just drafted Tyree Wilson, the Texas Tech long athletic end. Mm-hmm. You got Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. Like, Tyree Wilson needs snaps. He needs snaps. So maybe, and the Raiders are going to win. The Raiders stink.
No.
They stink. Who's going to be the quarterback? Jimmy
Raiders?
G?
Yeah, Jimmy.
He's hurt.
According to Josh McDaniels, he's going to be fine.
Well, Josh McDaniels couldn't coach himself out of a wet paper bag.
I don't disagree with you on that, but according to Josh McDaniels, he will be fine by the start of the season.
So maybe you trade Chandler Jones for something and get a draft pick for the future. But Chandler Jones, wasting time. Jamal Adams, safety for the Seahawks. He's got one of the worst contracts from a team standpoint. If you are the Seahawks, that was a terrible sign and trade. Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
No one's going to want Jamal Adams.
No.
Yeah, no one's going to want Jamal Adams.
No. Not really.
The most interesting one. Aaron Donald. Trading Donald would be one of the toughest moves that general manager Les needs of his career. One could argue could be the smartest one. Donald, 32, is entering the twilight of his career. He has 2 years left on his deal, including cap hits of $26 million and $34 million before a void year, meaning LA is short on talent and long on needs. If the Rams trade Donald post June 1. They saved $35 million over the upcoming 2 seasons, while also netting much needed draft capital. On that front, the pick should be excellent considering Donald is one of the best players of this era. It would cost the acquiring team $13.5 million and $10 million to the cap. This is interesting because if they trade Donald, they basically are saying we're not competitive anymore.
In a way, yeah.
You can still be competitive up front if you've got Aaron Donald. Now, Aaron Donald was not the best defensive lineman last year. That was Chris Jones.
Yeah.
This is interesting because you put Donald on some other teams at $13.5 million and $10 million. But the problem is,
it's a steal.
What do you have to give up for a 32-year-old?
The compensation.
That's interesting.
The compensation would be the most fascinating part because Aaron Donald has shown he's still got it.
Oh yeah.
Like his issue last year was injuries.
Yep.
Like he's shown if he is healthy, Aaron Donald is still the guy who can just rack shop and do some of these big, amazing, great things. So I'm so fascinated what it would be and what the situation would be and what that compensation would look like for Aaron Donald because the age is against him at 32, going to be 33. The compensation's not great, but not terrible. 13.5 and 10. You got him 2 years of control is important as well. I mean, if I'm the Rams, I'd probably ask for multiple firsts.
It
starts there.
It's not quite Aaron Rodgers territory, but it's close.
It's close.
It's close.
Because it's an aging superstar, but it's one that if they're on and at the top of their game, it changes things.
He played in 11 games last year, had 5 sacks. Injuries was a big deal. But that's fascinating what they could do with potentially Aaron Donald. Not a lot of teams still have $13.5 million and $10 million to get it done, though.
Yeah, that'd be the other part is, what the
Bills should do this instead of DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, if the Bills want to do anything, and go get Aaron Donald. Oh, boy, that'd be really, really frustrating.
Yeah. Another vet, the Buccaneers, wide receiver Mike Evans.
Yeah.
They are in a rebuild.
Yep. Yeah, they are.
They are in a rebuild. They need cap space. Evans turns 30 and in the last year of his contract. Base salary $13 million. Evans would be an attractive candidate for a contender looking for a perimeter weapon. As for Tampa, it would save $14.5 million. To me, and it'll never happen, but if I were somebody like the Panthers, give Bryce Young another weapon.
No.
The Jags.
No.
The Bears.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is anybody who's got a rookie quarterback who needs wide receiver help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give Bryce Young another guy to throw to. Young wide receiver or young quarterback who, Mike Evans is essentially guaranteed 1,000 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns this upcoming year.
Yeah, it's pretty much his base, what he does every year.
He's caught 1,000 yards every year of his career. Nobody's ever done that.
No.
He's the first person to ever do 1,000 yards, and one year he got 1,001.
Still counts just the same.
Yeah. Last year he caught 6 touchdowns for 1,100 yards. The year before that, 14 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns, 8. So you're guaranteed essentially 8 touchdowns on average and 1,000 yards. Carolina could sure use that. The Bears could use that.
Yeah.
Throw in the Jags could be a benefit. Put that next to help me out with Christian Kirk,
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of interesting. So there's some veteran wide and the Bucs ain't doing anything this year. Who's the quarterback for the Bucs?
Baker Mayfield.
Wait, what?
Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield's the quarterback of so he's gone from the Browns,
Cleveland,
to the Panthers,
Mhm.
to the Rams,
Mhm.
to the Bucks.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then lastly, Kevin Baird or Byard.
Yeah.
For the Titans. Safety, older safety, 30 years old. I remember Dion one time called him out going, "Who are you?" And he was like, "I was actually all pro last year at safety, but thanks for watching the NFL." Was it Dion?
I don't know. I can't remember. I truly don't remember.
I think it was.
No, Kevin Byard, a good player, not young player, but good player, has already kind of regressed out of Tennessee, but they've been entered a weird standoff. He's the guy that'd be interesting to see get moved.
Yeah. Yes. NFL analysts got into a Twitter spat with all-pro safety Kevin Baird. Deion Sanders said, so what happened is this was back in 2018, and it said here, Deion Sanders is a big fan of the Houston Texans' latest DB edition. It ended up being actually Tyrann Mathieu. And Kevin Baird responded with, how do you make the statement and not include the two first-team all-pro, all safeties? And then Deion Sanders goes, you're looking at who writers tell you who's the best. I know who players and former players feel is the best. I rest my case. You continue to be a fan, and I will continue to be the man. He said continue to be a fan. He didn't even know Kevin Baird was. He said, yeah, you're a fan.
And Kevin Byard's like, bro, I was an all-pro.
He told Kevin Baird, who was all pro,
Mhm.
and Dion at that time wasn't a coach. He was an analyst. And he goes, you be a fan, I'll be an analyst.
Oh, you mean to tell me Dion was a clown? I'm shocked, Jake.
Do you not remember this?
Oh, I really don't.
I
truly
remember
don't.
this so well.
I'm so stunned that Deion Sanders was a clown. Wow. This is my shocked face. I learned something new today.
Tell me you don't watch the NFL without telling me you don't watch the NFL. If you are an analyst for I didn't know Baker Mayfield was on the Buccaneers. Should I probably know that? Yes.
It was a while back and a really, really not
but
talked about move.
Here's the thing though. He was an NFL analyst. If I was an NFL analyst, you should know that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious though.
Yeah, the Bucks quarterback options are what I'd call not great. Because you have Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You have Kyle Trask. And you have John Wolford.
Oh, we've got a Royals roster move.
Oh?
The Royals are placing left-handed pitcher Amir Garrett on the 15-day IL, retroactive to May 29th, because of left elbow
valgus extension overload.
So we're going to call it an elbow injury.
Yeah, the valgus nerve in his elbow, apparently.
Don't care about the definition of that one. We just know he's got an elbow injury.
Yeah.
And they are bringing up Jackson Kowar.
I'm cool with this. He looked good.
He did.
Like, the first inning
right.
he pitched was stressful because he could not find a strike zone, and Salvador Perez got mad at him. And Sal basically said, buddy, you're better than this. Throw the ball over the damn plate. Kowar did that. Proceeded to look excellent those final two innings. I'm cool with this. I'm cool with seeing, because I want to know something. I want to know, can Jackson Kowar be a bullpen piece to this team? This actually helps answer a question.
I mean, if anybody, he's been the best reliever for the Royals.
He has not allowed to run.
He's 0.0. He's got a full blue Tarski ERA, baby. So, yeah, the Royals Royals making moves.
Jackson Kowar. Welcome back, buddy.
Moves.
Welcome back, brother. For once, Jackson Kowar's back, and I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I probably should be, but I'm not right now.
Coming up next, we got another edition of On Second Thought here on Mic'd Up. For the past week, what would you like to redo? What do you got?
It's simple for me, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't think about it sooner. I gotta give some respect to Najee Kennedy. I thought she would pitch well.
Okay.
I did not think she'd hold the Death Star to 2 runs, and only one of them being earned.
Yeah, I would say really it's one earned run because if the left fielder the run would have scored.
Yeah, the 1 run would have. The second run scored because of a boot. No, and we talked about it. I thought it would be a good test for Nyjah, and I thought maybe she'd look better, but Oklahoma's just Oklahoma. And I thought, maybe she'd have a nice line of 6 innings, 3 or 4 runs, some Ks, and it's good for who you're facing.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been, bad by her standards, but good based on who she's facing. And she decided to just throw heat and completely stymie the greatest softball team ever. So, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
And the frustrating thing was, it was an 0-2 count.
Yeah.
That the single to the left side that scored the run, and then the left fielder went full Edward Olivares. Don't ever go full Edward Olivares.
No,
and
never.
It ended up scoring 2 runs. One of them was earned. So in 5 innings, she gave up 1 earned run to Oklahoma, and she was 1 strike away from going 5 shutout innings and allowing 3 hits to the Oklahoma offense that averages 9 runs a game.
Yeah.
So that was the coolest part about yesterday, was seeing everybody on social media who was watching it, including some bigger named people who were going, man, Nyjah Candy, just a freshman, is throwing rockets.
Just throwing
yeah.
heat.
Even like Oklahoma people are like, this is the best pitcher we've seen.
Yeah.
Our batters are completely off their timing. And the bummer part is that Oklahoma also has one of the best pitching staffs in the country.
Yeah.
It's just watching the game. You felt better on Oklahoma scoring a run because it's their offense up against the Stanford offense. I mean, they had chances. They had runners.
They had a lot of chances
at second with one out 3 different times, but they're off. That's not that's not what they're built on. I'll be interested to know, because they pulled Kennedy after those 5 innings. Vaughter came and pitched in the 6th and the 7th, or the 6th. Did they do that to save her for tonight?
I wonder what Stanford's idea is going to be. They have a trio of very good pitchers. I wouldn't be surprised if they start someone else tonight and Nyjah's available in relief. Or if they need to go to a late bullet to stay alive.
Or do you say, let's go with our other gal and try to save Nyjah for the Tennessee game?
Well, if you get there.
Well, yeah, you'd have to beat.
Yeah, you have to win tonight to keep going.
You hope that your Vaughter, who's their other gal, wins, and then you've got Kennedy on a day's rest to face Tennessee, because Oklahoma's going to beat Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
But they got a good pitcher, too.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Mine is Zach Greinke.
Road Zach is dead.
Actually pretty good. In fact, it's kind of a little, we poked fun at Zach Greinke for a while, but Zach Greinke's your Royals pitcher of the month for the month of May. Started 6 games, had a 2.30 ERA, which was the 7th best mark in the American League. That's why I think Zach could get something on the market.
Potentially.
If you want to bolster your starting depth. But tossed at least 5 innings with no more than 3 earned runs in all 6 of his starts.
He was really good.
Been good. I was a little bit of my bad, Zach. Yeah. Road Greinke is now just overall good Greinke. What's his what's his overall ERA right now?
Should be like 4.10, 4.19.
It is 4.19.
Whoo, nailed it.
And that's with a dreadful 4-game stretch.
Yeah, you have to remember, he started this turn in May. When his last start in April, he gave up 700 runs.
Yeah,
that was his last April start. He got shelled.
Yeah, it was not great.
And then he started doing this.
Poor Zach.
It's awesome.
Zach now in, what is this, 38 starts for the Royals. Has 5 wins.
Well, we're not going to talk about that.
That sucks. Not Zach sucks. The Royals suck. Like, the situation sucks. Zach had a 3.68 ERA last year.
Yeah, he was really good last year.
Man.
Just for fun, I want to find this real quick because it's really fun for me.
I'm telling you,
this is really fun for me.
If Zach didn't play for the Royals, he probably would still be he'd be mowing yards.
He might have been.
But because of that, that's why he's in this situation. But if he didn't play for the Royals, he would be at like 270 wins.
Yeah, probably.
That's wild.
Just for some fun here, because we're going to get to previewing the Royals and the Rockies series, including Jordan Lyles being on the bump this evening. Do you know which pitcher by ERA plus has the worst ERA plus amongst qualified pitchers?
Jordan Lyles.
Yep. 61. He is 6 points worse than Lance Lynn. Jordan Lyles is, by a metric that normalizes things to league average rates, the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, not good. Coming up next, we'll get to the weekend upon us here on Mic'd Up. Get really upset if we bring up Taylor Swift, which, by
Yes.
the way, if my wife not happy that she can't win Taylor Swift tickets. I was like, sorry, sweetie, you're married to me.
Yeah,
You
rules
can't win
apply.
Taylor
Sorry.
Swift tickets. And then she was like, but what if I wasn't? I was like,
Oh, I mean,
it is the Eras tour.
If there was ever a time.
This is the Eras tour. But you can win Taylor Swift tickets tomorrow, 2 to 4, Gage Park Railroad, the Kicker Performance Audio Summer Concert Road Trip. Taylor Swift, T-Swift, the Swifties, Arrowhead. Unbelievable show. You have a chance to win free tickets, 2 to 4. But people get upset when we talk about Taylor Swift.
Yes.
But yet nobody gets upset about our Rebecca Black bump music.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe
I've called us out about that. We've played that ever since the show was created.
That song
a year
is, but see, I'm pro Rebecca Black Songs Friday because that is catchy as hell.
Ah.
The song lyrically is atrocious.
Oh, horrible. It's got a great beat, though.
But it's catchy, man.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's upbeat.
Yeah.
And it mentions Friday. And it's true. Like,
It's a valid point.
Everything about it. It's Friday. Gonna get down on Friday. Like, yeah. You gonna get down? Not in this rain, though, that we're having.
Not in
Good.
the buckets that are coming down outside.
Not great there.
No.
I was hoping to go golfing later.
Buddy, I don't think you are.
I may go swimming later.
On the golf course.
On the golf course. Exactly right. But yes, don't hate on Taylor Swift or Rebecca Black.
No.
In fact, music is awesome. Royals and Rockies, otherwise known as the two worst teams.
Series of suck.
outside of the A's, because they're an anomaly. They don't count.
They're horrible.
These are the 2 worst teams in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And we're gonna square off.
Yep. Nice 3-game set.
The Royals are throwing out Jordan Lyles.
Yeah.
The Rockies are throwing out a Chase Anderson, which is just the most generic name of all time.
Yeah, Chase Anderson.
Chase Anderson could be the guy who works a Goodyear, is the manager at the Target distribution center, and also, is your waiter at Chili's.
Yeah, but he's been really good for Colorado this year.
But he's only pitched 20 innings.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if he's been this good for Colorado this year.
Bet
3 starts.
Here we go. Ready? We're going to do this here real quick. Going to go to FanDuel.
Okay.
Opened it up here.
Okay.
Now,
I will say, he has not pitched since May 27th.
Why is that?
I said this a long time ago. It's June 2nd. I don't know what my brain was just doing there. I apologize to everybody. I don't know what my brain just did there.
What you did was he pitched last month.
Yeah, technically right. No, so in his 3 starts for the Rockies, he's gone 5 innings, 5 2/3, 5. Has given up 0 runs, 2 runs, 1 run.
Alrighty.
They've all been at Coors. So he's not pitched a road start for the Rockies yet.
All right, here you go. You can get the Rockies at plus value.
Yeah.
So I'm betting Rockies money line.
Okay. Dan would tell you not to do that. Because the road Rockies are bad.
Well, you know who else is bad?
Rose.
No.
Home Ross.
No. Well, they are.
Jordan Lyles.
Yeah,
you're betting against Jordan Lyles more than anything.
I'm betting the fact that the Royals have not won a game against with Jordan Lyles.
Yeah. They are 0 for 11 in these tries. 9 of the losses directly attributed to Mr. Jordan Lyles.
Jordan Lyles, ready? His last couple starts.
Oh, they're not good.
Let's take a look at this. Okay.
I don't want to.
Here we go. Jordan Lyles.
I don't want to do this.
5 innings, 5 earned runs.
Not good.
2 home runs allowed. White Sox, 5 innings, 4 earned runs. 3 walks, by the way. First one, 3 walks. Milwaukee, 2 1/3 innings, 7 earned runs, 1 home run, 3 walks. Those are his last outings. He's basically guaranteeing you 8 base runners a game. 8 base runners. And thus far, an average of 1 home run a game. So the Rockies are going to score at least probably 4 runs today. Total. In the 9 innings, they're going to score 4. Because that's the worst beg your pardon, excuse me. That's the best that he has done.
Yeah.
Is 8 base runners and 4 earned runs. That's the best. That's the floor.
Yeah.
Or does that be the ceiling?
Floor. Ceiling.
Yeah, that would be the ceiling.
The
ceiling is 4 earned runs and 8 base runners in 5 innings.
Yeah.
And a home run.
Yeah. He's bad.
The Rockies are plus 108.
Okay, I see your point.
I'm taking the Rockies.
That's fair. Would you like the Rose lineup?
I just bet on the Rockies. Go Rockies.
That's fair. Would you like the Rose lineup?
Sure.
Leading off, first baseman Nick Pratto. No surprise. That's just become the move now. I'm cool with it. Batting second, moving on up in the order. Play the Jeffersons, I believe, was the moving on up theme song. Bywit Jr. will bat second. He's playing at shortstop. Benny Fasquintino, your DH, will bat third. Salvador Perez will bat cleanup. He is your catcher. MJ Melendez in right will bat fifth. Edward Olivares in left field will bat sixth. Michael Massey at second base will bat seventh. Nicky Lopez at third base will bat eighth. And Drew Waters, your center fielder, will bat ninth. So no Michael Garcia this evening. Bobby Witt up to the 2 spot. Slowly inching him up. 2, I think, is the right spot for him.
Just get him at bats.
Well, that's why. I think 2 lets him mentally settle down because he has mentally settled down since this dropping. And I think given his tools, that's where he needs to be. Because then, like if Nick Prado gets on, there's a lot of ways that Bobby Jr. can help with Nick Prado being on base. Bobby's still in a spot to drive in runners. He will still get a lot of at-bats batting in the 2 spot. His speed is still helpful. If Nick Prado gets out, he can get some advice from Nick Prado on what he's already seeing for early on. I think 2 is Bobby's best spot. Truly.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
So I'm hoping he maybe settles in there. But yeah, Bobby batting second today. He's been really good for parts of lately and then really bad. Man, since that 4 for 5, he is 1 for his last 16. Remember that 4 for 5 against Washington, hit 2 home runs?
And we were like, maybe that's it.
Just killing it.
That's the new Bobby Witt.
Yeah, and then stuff happens, man. It's hard to maintain some stuff, but overall, his month of May was not, totally horrendous. The on-base percentage is a problem, though. It's a different problem. A 265 on-base percentage that month, the month of May. 734 OPS.
The Royals are going to throw out Lyles today.
Yep.
And then Lynch tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Brady Singer on Sunday.
Retooled the rotation a tiny bit with all the days off.
Yes.
So if the Royals want to win this series, in your mind, it'll have to be Lynch and Singer that do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rockies, for what it's worth, and
they go with Gomber.
Oh, we're gonna get the Austin Gomber experience,
and then Kyle Freeland.
Oh, Kyle Freeland, good.
So we don't know who's going to pitch on Monday. So for some reason, people on Fox Sports thought it'd be a good idea to put the Royals and the Marlins on FS1.
Well, got to put something there.
Air a rerun of Paw Patrol. You get more people watch.
Yeah,
you get more people watch Rubble and Crew, the new spinoff on Paw Patrol, than you would the Royals and the Marlins.
I assume Monday will be either straight Mike Myers or opener and Mike Myers.
It should be Mike Myers. Go. Start. Or if you want to do Stalmont first and then do Mike Myers, do exactly what you did last time. Do Stalmont first and then Mike Myers.
And they might.
And have Mike Myers pitch until he's done.
Yeah.
Or if he pitches to the 8th inning with a perfect game, don't throw him the 8th inning.
Calm down.
I will never.
Buddy, let it go.
That's the
brother.
No.
Jake, as your friend, I'm asking you to let it go.
Not going to let it go.
Let it go.
We'll never let that
Come on, man. No, but I imagine that's going to be the
Matt
move.
Cotrero, hater of history and fun.
And I imagine as well the whether it'll be an opener or not to work with him will be dependent on the bullpen usage against Colorado. I imagine if the starting pitching is better than expected against the Rockies, they might use an opener because that is a nice little concept to help out Mike Myers a little bit. I imagine if the bullpen is taxed a little bit, though, we might get Myers straight up. We also just get Myers straight up in general. He's stretched back out. Like, he's stretched out for a full starter's workload. Like, he was well over, like, he was being used again at 72 pitches in that game against the Cardinals. So, I wonder what they'll do, but I think no matter what, we will see Mike Myers on Monday on FS1 against the Marlins. We're going to see him. Whether he is the first guy on the bump for Kansas City is the question. But no matter what, I think we're getting Myers. He's done so well that Cotrero's not going to stop that. He's just going to start changing up the pairings or whether we're letting him roll. Honestly, give me Carlos Hernandez and a Mike Myers. Give me 2 clean innings to Carlos, even though I do like him as a late inning weapon. But you give me 2 clean innings to Carlos. Mike Myers rolls through. Bam. You're rolling.
Until there's a perfect game opportunity.
Jake,
and then
let it go.
No, I will never.
I
will never let that go. I'm still mad about that. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, you will.
That is hater of fun. Coming up next, we've got the mic drop. All right, wrapping things up with the mic drop. Fulton, what do you got?
It's simple. I'm about to go on vacation. Basically starting in the next 2 minutes. I'll be gone all next week. You guys will just have Jake running the show. Hope you all don't miss me too much. Have fun while I'm gone. I will lightly think of all you while I'm just enjoying rest, relaxation, and some adult beverages.
If you catch one fish, you've had a good fishing trip.
Mm-hmm.
If you catch 2 fish, you should be ecstatic.
Just gonna spam you with fish pictures.
I'm all right with that. I like fishing. Have fun, man.
I will.
Nice Kennedy, you rock. I hope you continue to do so. We'll talk to you on Monday here on Mic'd Up. 580 Sports Talk coming up next.